Chapter 4659. If that's the case, Yun Ichin should be up against a reputable second-generation immortal in the immortal world. Tanghua and Jiang Zilin transmitted their voices. After Jiang Zilin's reminder, Tanghua recalled her memories and seemed to have seen through something. She was thinking that Wei Xian should be the only chance of survival in the immortal world. If that person hadn't arranged for Wei Xian to be with Yun Ichin, then Yun Ichin wouldn't have interacted with Wei Xian. If he didn't have interacted with Wei Xian, then he wouldn't have killed Wei Xian by severing his emotions. Without this ill-fated relationship, Wei Xian wouldn't have killed Yun Ichin in the end. Then, the two of them wouldn't have been entangled for eternity. This way, that person's scheme would never have been completed. She found the conflict between Yun Ichin and the second-generation immortal in her memories. Tanghua's gaze landed on Lin Chu, who was still filled with hatred. Based on the current situation, Lin Chu's crisis could be considered resolved. According to that person's calculations and arrangements, Yun Ichin should have approached the next person and planned to steal their fate. Lin Chu, I'm leaving. Tanghua's sudden words stunned Lin Chu. Didn't you say you were going to stay at the Elixir Mountain for a while? Before he met Tanghua, Lin Chu was still a little angry. Yun Ichin, a mere abstruse immortal from the lower world, had actually defeated many second-generation immortal and won Tanghua's heart. Now that he saw Tanghua and saw a gigolo beside her, he wasn't angry at all. Also, Tanghua's attitude towards Yun Ichin didn't seem like she was going to stick to him eagerly. What was there to be angry about? Wasn't it just the prettiest girl among the second-generation immortal taking a fancy to a gigolo? Maybe she would hate him that day. Look, how long had it been and there were already other gigolos? I suddenly wanted to go somewhere else. Lin Chu looked at Jiang Zilin and thought to himself, like hell I'd believe you. I told Yun Ichin that I wanted to stay on Dan Mountain and take a look. After Yun Ichin left, she couldn't wait to take her new gigolo on a sightseeing tour. Lin Chu suddenly realized why Tanghua asked Jiang Zilin, the gigolo, to wear a mask. She definitely didn't want to expose his identity. Yun Ichin might misunderstand that Jiang Zilin was just a follower if he dressed up mysteriously. Tanghua found that there was something wrong with Lin Chu's eyes. Why did he look like he worshipped her? She shouldn't have done anything, right? Okay, go ahead. Have fun. Lin Chu didn't stop her anymore. He even whispered, You really know how to have fun. Be careful. Tanghua was speechless. What was this? She always knew that Lin Chu was a master of imagination. She didn't know what he was thinking in such a short time. In that case, she'd better leave quickly. If she stayed on Dan Mountain, she didn't know what Lin Chu would think. By the way, Lin Chu, why don't you cultivate properly? Tanghua wanted to reveal something to Lin Chu. She directly transmitted the last sentence to him. I'm already at the immortal monarch realm. Holy shit. Lin Chu's eyes widened in disbelief. His eyeballs were about to pop out. You pervert. Although they were of the same generation, Tanghua was only in her 20s. He was already more than 100 years old. In the immortal world, he was already a genius. However, in front of Tanghua, he felt inferior. Go into seclusion and cultivate. Tanghua transmitted again. Don't tell anyone about this. I'm only telling you because we're friends. Peek. Chapter 4660. Lin Chu shook his head. No, you're obviously here to attack me. We're not friends. Why would I, Lin Chu, do this? You've been attacking my friends ever since I was young. Cultivate well. Something is about to happen. Be careful and don't get angered too easily. Be careful. Today's matter isn't simple. Tanghua reminded him before leaving. Lin Chu had a good relationship with her. Pill Emperor had a good relationship with her father as well. In fact, the 8 immortal emperors of the immortal world had a good relationship with each other. That was why they were able to maintain peace in the immortal world. In Tanghua's memories, she found that Yun Ichin's appearance had indeed affected the relationship between the 8 immortal emperors. For example, in her memories, the original owner had taken out a top-grade pill furnace to help Yun Ichin, causing Lin Chu to lose face. Because he lost to a mere Xin immortal, and because someone beside Lin Chu had bewitched Lin Chu lost his mind. His fate was stolen, and his cultivation couldn't improve for many years. Pill Emperor didn't say anything on the surface. In fact, he was estranged from her father. that Lin Chu was extremely talented in pill refining and was the only son of Pill Emperor. It would be strange if Pill Emperor wasn't angry. Another example was the place she was going to next. It was the Desolate Sea. A secret realm was about to appear in the Desolate Sea. Below the Desolate Sea was Dragon Emperor's son, Aocian. In her memories, Dragon Emperor's son had died. News spread that Lei Yu had killed Aocian for the treasures in the secret realm. After Lei Yu killed Aocian, he fled for his crimes. Tanghua was silent. How was that possible? The second generation of immortals usually had a good relationship. Even if they didn't have a good relationship, they wouldn't plot to kill someone. At most, they would beat him up. What are you thinking about? Let's hurry to the Desolate Sea. A secret realm is about to appear. Tanghua didn't hide anything. She remembered that she had Zhang Zilin with her. He should be able to help. Aocian and Lei Yu are in trouble. Let's go take a look. Aocian, Lei Yu? Zhang Zilin muttered. Dragon Sage and Thunder Sage's descendants? Let's go take a look. Zhang Zilin was still very happy to meet the descendants of the old men as soon as he arrived. He also wanted to take a look at their situation in advance. When the time came, he would set the test according to their actual situation. If they didn't pass, then they wouldn't pass on the inheritance. They would wait until their descendants passed. I'll take you there directly, Zhang Zilin said. Tanghua didn't refuse. The earlier she went, the better. She didn't want Aocian to be schemed against, and it would be impossible to save him. She was getting more and more curious about who was behind such a big game of chess. She didn't intend to tell the 8 great immortal emperors about this. Let's not talk about whether they would believe it or not. She wasn't sure who did it. What if that person was one of the 8 great immortal emperors? Then wouldn't she be exposed? She wouldn't be able to find that person. After Zhang Zilin got Tanghua's permission, he held her waist and instantly teleported her to the Huanghai Sea. Given Tanghua's cultivation base, she could casually use teleportation in the lower planes. However, in the immortal plane, the range of her teleportation would be very small, so small that it would be visible to the naked eye. The Sage realm is indeed different. We arrived at the Huanghai Sea in an instant. Tanghua praised. Zhang Zilin said, with your talent, it's only a matter of time before you become a sage. When you reach the immortal emperor realm, I will pass on the sage realm to you. Tanghua smiled and jumped into the sea with Zhang Zilin. They went to find where Aocian was cultivating. Aocian was different from the rest of the dragon race. He was a weirdo in the dragon race. He didn't like shiny treasures. He only liked to live in such a desolate place. The more desolate it was, the better. Peak. Chapter 46-61. Your friend's preferences are really different. Zhang Zilin had already swept through the entire desolate sea. Naturally, he found a dragon entrenched in the dry rocks under the desolate sea. If he hadn't found the aura of life in it, he would have thought it was a stone dragon. You see him? I see him. He's entrenched in a dry rock. There are all kinds of stones piled up on his body, Zhang Zilin replied. I'll take you there. Tanghua didn't object. It was good to be able to teleport there for free. System. Haha, is that so? Like hell I'll believe you. This woman is very bad. Zhang Zilin instantly brought Tanghua to Aocian. What appeared in front of them was a huge dragon covered in stones. This guy likes to sleep in the garbage. Tanghua was speechless when she saw it. Who is it? With such a loud voice, Aocian couldn't continue cultivating. He turned over and shook off the stones and water plants on his body. A huge dragon head instantly stared at Tanghua. Aocian, who was about to explode in anger, was stunned. Tanghua? What are you doing here? No. How did you come in quietly? Didn't I set up a restriction? Why didn't I feel you breaking the restriction? Aocian was shocked. Did your cultivation level increase again? You can say that. There's no justice in this world. Aocian's body rolled, and the seawater above him rippled violently. However, it was only an instant. He had turned into a human. Aocian was different from the other dragons. The other dragons liked to dress up elegantly. Aocian, on the other hand, was dressed simply, as if he was a vegetarian. Aocian waved his hand, and the surrounding area was cleaned. He took out a table and a stool, and invited Tangwa to sit down. Only then did he notice Jiang Zeline. He was shocked. He didn't notice this person just now. "This is my friend," Tangwa introduced. "Jiang Zeline. We came out to play together." Aosian was puzzled. "Isn't the gigolo you like called Yunichin? I heard that you chase after him every day and bring him along wherever you go. I was just wondering if the person beside you was him. If he is, then those outstanding talents of the immortal world did not lose unjustly. So, why aren't you with Yunichin? Aren't you crazy about him? Did he have a change of heart?" Tangwa. "No, she didn't have such a group of imaginative friends. My father said that Brother Ichin needs to grow. If I stay by his side, I'll hinder his growth. So, I won't follow him and let him gain experience on his own. Only when he reaches the immortal monarch realm can he marry me." Aosian nodded. "That's right. It's not a good thing to be protected by you all day long. That pretty boy is quite lucky." Jiang Zeline didn't feel comfortable hearing that, but he knew that Tangwa couldn't have anything to do with Yunichin. She couldn't wait to kill him, so he felt relieved. "Why are you here this time?" Aosian went straight to the point. "Don't tell me you're here to see me. I'm really here to see you." Tangwa said, "I saw that you don't have long to live. As a friend, I won't leave you in the lurch. When did you learn to brag? I don't have long to live. How could I?" Aosian didn't care. He was sleeping here. Who would he offend? He was the son of the Dragon Emperor. Who would dare to do anything to him? Aosian, believe it or not, the desolate sea will become lively. Peak. Chapter 4662. How is that possible? This place is so desolate, no one would be willing to. Aosian wasn't lying. He felt the desolate ocean shake violently. Especially in a certain place, a strong mysterious energy appeared. He swallowed the rest of his words and looked at Tangwa in shock. Tangwa and the other two quickly jumped to the surface of the sea. Aosian stared dumbfoundedly at the distant place filled with clouds and mist. Unexpectedly, a mountain rose from the ground. The mysterious aura just now came from it. It's probably going to be lively. Aosian felt the energy inside. It seemed that because of the sudden appearance of the mountain, the desolate ocean became more lively. How did you know? Aosian stared at Tangwa. Is my life really in danger? Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? Yes. Aosian didn't doubt it this time. Tangwa was the smartest and most talented of the second generation. She was only 40 years old and was not weaker than them. Someone once said that Tangwa might be able to revive the saint's light in the future. As long as one person became a saint, then the rest would benefit. They might even find the path to becoming a saint. Hence, many people in the celestial world thought highly of Tangwa. Ever since the calamity, no one had become a saint. There were only 8 immortal emperors. Let's go in first. I don't know what treasures there are inside. Let's take advantage of the fact that the others haven't arrived yet. Aosian said, "Let's get some good stuff." Although Aosian didn't like shiny things, he still had the characteristics of the dragon race, which was that he wouldn't miss out on good things, even though he was dressed in rags. Tangwa also wanted to take a look. Unexpectedly, Jiang Zeline stopped them. "There's no need to go. There's nothing good inside." Tangwa and Aosian both looked at Jiang Zeline, especially Aosian. He thought to himself, "Why are you boasting so shamelessly?" But thinking about how he couldn't detect this person before, as long as he didn't see Jiang Zeline with his naked eye, he wouldn't be able to detect him. From this, it could be seen that this was an expert. He was many times stronger than him. Therefore, Aosian was very tactful and did not say anything rude. "Jiang Zeline, what's inside?" Tangwa couldn't get close, so she couldn't see what was inside the mountain. Jiang Zeline said, "This is not a mystic realm with good treasures. There are murderous intents everywhere." He glanced at Aosian. There are also many murderous intents targeted at the Dragon Clan. Tangwa's expression turned serious. That's right. That person wanted to scheme against the luck of the second-generation immortal. The array formation inside was targeted at Aosian. Aosian's death was most likely related to Jiang Zeline. Furthermore, there is a treasure inside, but it should have been specially prepared for someone. Jiang Zeline transmitted his voice. "Yunichin." In Tangua's memory, there were many people who had entered this mystic realm. In the end, less than 10% of them had made it out alive. Can you destroy this place? Tangua instantly made a decision. If they killed Yunichin just like that, and that person was still hiding behind, it would be considered alerting the enemy. The other party might not appear again for many years. Destroy that place and take out that treasure. Let's see what it is. Aosian felt that Tangua must be joking. That mystic realm was not simple. Even if an immortal emperor came, it would take a lot of effort to destroy it. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zilin said in a relaxed tone, "That's very simple. Do you really want to destroy it?" Destroy it. That person was still recuperating. That person would not suspect anything if the mystic realm was destroyed and robbed. He would not guess that someone had already found out about his conspiracy. Okay, Zhang Zilin replied. Peek. Chapter 46-63. Aosian was shocked. Why didn't he know that there was such a powerful person in the immortal realm? What kind of person was this? He was so perverted. Speaking of which, as expected of someone by Tangua's side, Zhang Zilin didn't do anything. He just flew to the mountain and smashed it with his fist. His actions were very rough. Seeing the mountain being smashed into smithereens, Aosian took 2 steps back. The corner of his mouth twitched. Where did this ferocious person come from? If those fists landed on his body, he felt that he would fall apart. Aosian was completely convinced that Tangua was here to save him. When Zhang Zilin smashed the mountain, he also saw the danger inside. If he didn't know and walked in, he might not be able to come out alive. What kind of pervert would make such a harmful thing? Zhang Zilin's actions were very fast. In the time it took to brew a cup of tea, the mountain was razed to the ground. At this moment, a box appeared in his hand. "This is the only treasure inside?" Aosian asked. He wasn't interested in this and looked at the box with fear. Could it be a trap? Be careful. Why don't we destroy it? Our lives are more important. Zhang Zilin opened the box. Instantly, a black jade stone appeared in front of the 3 of them. Soul Stone. Tangua recognized the Soul Stone. Aosian naturally recognized it as well. As expected. I knew it wasn't a good treasure. It's actually a soul stone. What was a soul stone? It was used to capture a person's soul. Tangua seemed to understand. In her memory, Aosian was killed and everyone thought that Leiyu had escaped. No one had found him. If Leiyu's body was destroyed and his soul was placed in the soul stone, who could find him? "Give it to me," Tangua said. "I have a use for it." Aosian glared. "This thing is not good. No one can escape from a soul capture. I'm not going to abuse it." Aosian was relieved. "That's right. You can't do anything bad. It's fine if you take it. This thing can't be destroyed. It's better for you to take it." Zhang Zilin gave the soul stone to Tangua. He seemed to understand what Tangua wanted to do with it. If he had flesh, the corners of his lips would have curled up. Tangua did think of capturing Yunichin's soul in the soul stone. This soul stone could not only capture souls, but also create all kinds of illusions that would cause the souls inside to suffer. Then, the fate of Yunichin and Wei Xian would be resolved. Aosian. A thunderous voice came from afar, exploding in their ears like a thunderclap. The voice, arrived. In the blink of an eye, the owner of the voice had already appeared in front of them. "Aosian, did you swallow the treasure?" The man grabbed Aosian and stared at him. There was a mysterious aura here. Why did it suddenly disappear? "You've been sleeping here every day. Did you swallow the treasures?" Aosian said, "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did. Who else in the desolate sea besides you?" Leiyu didn't believe it. Dragon Peak. Chapter 46-64. Are there really no treasures? Leiyu came to the place where the mystic realm mountain appeared. In the end, he believed Aosian and Tangua's words. "You said that there's danger everywhere. What's going on?" Aosian said, "Maybe it was set up by a pervert from the ancient times. He wants to take our lives." "That's possible." Leiyu didn't pursue the matter. Instead, his gaze moved between Tangua and Zhang Zilin. "In the end," he said, "has there been a change?" Tangua. Since the crisis in the Desolate Sea had been resolved, Tangua decided to go to the next place. She planned to meet all the second-generation immortals who were on good terms with her. She wanted to remind them a little, so that they wouldn't be tricked by Yunichin and suffer misfortune. Hearing that Tangua was leaving, the two of them were a little reluctant. Why was she leaving so soon after meeting? Wasn't she going to stay for a few drinks? I'm already at the immortal monarch realm. Aosian, Leiyu, they couldn't compare. They were still quite far from the immortal monarch realm. They didn't expect that Tangua had already advanced. This was a pervert specially arranged by the heavens to beat them. Stop fooling around. Advance to the immortal monarch realm as soon as possible. When I came here, I met Lin Chu. He's already planning to go into seclusion. He won't come out until he reaches the immortal monarch realm. Aosian and Lei Yu's expressions were extremely ugly. Even the one who liked to fool around was so serious. Lin Chu was much weaker than them. If Lin Chu surpassed them, would they still have any face left? Let's go into seclusion, Aosian said. Lei Yu nodded. I wanted to go out for a stroll. Let's go back and cultivate. If that brat Lin Chu surpasses us, we'll be beaten by my father. The two of them said goodbye to Tangua and returned home to cultivate. It was safer to cultivate in seclusion at home. Who knew what would happen outside? When Tangua headed to the next place, she sent a message to Lin Chu. Lei Yu and Aosian are already in seclusion. They plan to break through to the immortal monarch realm in one go. Lin Chu planned to cultivate properly, but he did not plan to go into seclusion. After receiving Tangua's message, his expression changed. Fuck, those two guys are not human. They're actually cultivating in seclusion without saying anything. Are they trying to leave me far behind and then laugh at me? No, I need to go into seclusion. Lin Chu energetically rushed to find the Dan Emperor, shouting loudly, Father, Father, I want to go into seclusion. The Dendi was currently researching medicinal pills when he saw Lin Chu suddenly barge in and even yell about going into seclusion. He was a little confused. Why do you want to go into seclusion all of a sudden? Lin Chu did not betray Tangua, saying that she had cultivated to the immortal monarch realm. One of the reasons was that if his father found out, he would definitely be scolded. It wasn't a big deal, so he didn't want to talk about it. Aosian and Lei Yu, those two brats, secretly went into seclusion. How despicable. Pill Emperor suddenly understood. Then go into seclusion. Can you go into seclusion? I thought you couldn't calm down? I can, Lin Chu said fiercely. No matter what, I'm still father's son. I can't always be the last one. Pill Emperor lovingly patted Lin Chu's head. Don't force it. You're different from them. Follow your heart and refine more pills. Father, I know. Lin Chu was touched. His father was still the best. Then I'll go into seclusion. Okay. Pill Emperor thought for a while, then sent a message to Dragon Emperor and Lightning Emperor. After knowing that Aosian and Lei Yu were really in seclusion, the three of them felt relieved. They felt that their children had grown up. Lin Chu and the other two were already in seclusion. Tangua and Jiang Zilin had also left the Desolate Sea. Peak. Chapter 46-65. Half a day after they left, Yunichin came to the Desolate Sea, which was where the Mystic Realm Mountain had appeared. Many people had come to this place. Yunichin was surrounded by many people. They looked at the Desolate Sea and mumbled, It's clearly here. Why isn't it here? Did I sense wrongly? It might have disappeared again. It's very possible. Whether it's the Mystic Realm or something else, the Desolate Sea is still the Desolate Sea. Let's go. There's nothing here. People left one after another. Yunichin sat on the boat and refused to leave. His instincts told him that there was something here. He waited for 3 days. No other immortals came to the Desolate Sea. He was the only one on the calm sea. He ordered his 2 followers to wait on the shore. The Desolate Sea was still the barren Desolate Sea. In the end, Yunichin still left. He felt a little indignant. It was as if he had lost something that was destined to be his. This feeling made him very uncomfortable, but he couldn't do anything about it. Where are we going next? Jiang Zilin already knew that Tangua was sabotaging that person's plan. There were 2 reasons why they couldn't kill Yunichin. First, they couldn't alert the enemy. Second, they had to do with the chains of eternal fate. Once Yun Ichen died, this world would fold and start all over again. Wei Xian was just a puny immortal. How could a curse like this affect so many people and even be effective? It was most likely that Wei Xian had some fortuitous encounter and obtained something. It might even be related to ancient rules and mystic arts. These things, whether it was Tanghua or Jiang Zilin, they had no way to calculate. Let's find Shui Yang. Tanghua replied. Yun Ichen was quite good at flirting with women. Shui Yang would encounter an accident this time. Yun Ichen would accidentally save her. Although Tanghua and Yun Ichen were engaged, Emperor Qing had his own considerations and did not really announce it to the immortal world. Everyone only knew about it through the grapevine. This was because the Lotus the Arch didn't want to push Yun Ichen to the celestial world in case something unexpected happened in the future. In his opinion, only when Yun Ichen had reached the high immortal realm would he be qualified to appear before others and talk about marrying his daughter. As a result, many people had heard of Yun Ichen but did not know what he looked like. Shui Yang was secretly in love with Yun Ichen because he accidentally saved her. Even after she found out about the relationship between Yun Ichen and the original owner, she didn't want to let go. The original owner had the original owner's pride. Shui Yang had Shui Yang's pride. Since then, the two of them didn't have a good relationship and often fought. The original owner's luck was too strong, and Shui Yang's luck was stolen by Yun Ichen, so she was suppressed very badly. After losing to the original owner, she was attacked on the way home and died. Because of this, the Water Emperor and her father became enemies. The peace of the celestial world was slowly destroyed. During the original owner and Yun Ichen's training, they were plotted against by the Water Emperor many times. The Water Emperor was clear that Yun Ichen was the real problem. Each time he dealt with Yun Ichen, he tried to kill him. Towards the original owner, he had always held back and didn't kill her. This wasn't an outcome that Tanghua was willing to see. Because of Yun Ichen, she had to lose such a friend and ally. That was not worth it. Everyone had their own reasons for that matter. There was nothing much to say. She just had to stop this from happening from the source. Peak. Chapter 46-66. If she saved Shui Yang in advance, their relationship could be improved to the next level. Tanghua sent a message to Shui Yang, intending to ask where she was. At this time, Shui Yang shouldn't be in danger. As expected, not long after, Shui Yang sent a message back. Jinzhou, there's something I need here. Tanghua, I've been bored here recently, so I came to play with you. Shui Yang, come, I won't leave Jinzhou for a while. Speaking of which, didn't you find a gigolo? Are you bored? When Tanghua saw this message, her face turned ugly. How did the entire celestial world know that she found a pretty boy? Jiang Zilin was also speechless. What pretty boy? That Yun Ichen didn't even count. At most, he was just a scammer. Tanghua didn't reply to Shui Yang's message. She didn't want to discuss why she fell for a pretty boy. One day, she was going to clear her name. System, I don't think you can clear your name. They'll only think that host was blind and was tricked by a pretty boy. It was better for him not to say this out loud. It was more dangerous. It was already the third day since Tanghua arrived in Jinzhou. Every city had a teleportation array, so it was very convenient to travel. Tanghua didn't need to teleport, and Jiang Zilin didn't mention it. To him, it was the same. When she arrived in Jinzhou, Tanghua sent another message to Shui Yang. She didn't expect to hear that Shui Yang had already gone to that place. That place was a dangerous place. She didn't know what Shui Yang was looking for. Shui Yang, it should be over in 3 to 5 days. Wait for me outside. This place is more dangerous. Tanghua still went in with Jiang Zilin. This place was indeed dangerous. Every flower, grass, insect, and bird could be in danger. What was even more terrifying was that there were illusions here. Help me see where Shui Yang is. Go to her side as soon as possible in case anything happens. Tanghua said to Jiang Zilin. She even took out Shui Yang's portrait. This is Shui Yang. Jiang Zilin stared at the portrait for a moment, then covered the entire danger zone with his divine sense. After a while, he said, she's currently trapped in an illusion. I'll take you there. Jiang Zilin hugged Tanghua, and disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he appeared in Shui Yang's illusion. However, what greeted her was Shui Yang's blade. Zhang Zilin quickly dodged with Tanghua. Facing Shui Yang's cold and clear eyes, Tanghua shouted, "Shui Yang, don't hide. Come out." Shui Yang said as she slashed towards Tanghua's position. He must have been blinded by the illusion. Tanghua began to examine the illusion. The more she looked, the more silent she became. It was man-made again. Zhang Zilin walked in front of Shui Yang and formed two hand seals. The ferocious aura on Shui Yang's body disappeared. When she saw Tanghua, she was surprised for a moment and then quickly said, "This place is very strange." When he went to do something, he still didn't like people from the family Tang to follow him. The main reason was that he didn't want those two people to know that he had obtained treasures. To put it bluntly, he was afraid that the good things would be coveted by the family Tang. Heh, what a petty person. The family Tang was controlled by Emperor Qing. How could he lack something? No matter how precious it was, Emperor Qing wouldn't snatch something from someone who might become his son-in-law. Tanghua smiled as she watched Yunichen walk into the danger zone. If she guessed correctly, Yunichen didn't go to the exploration zone after saving Shui Yang. This time, he had missed Shui Yang. He would definitely go to the exploration zone. He wouldn't die, but he would most likely lose a lot. It was good to suffer a little. Peak. Chapter 46-68. Tanghua, you're amazing. Both of them are so obedient. Tanghua hit Shui Yang. What nonsense are you thinking? AI, who doesn't know that you've taken a fancy to a pretty boy and even brought him home? I thought there was only one. I didn't expect you to take a fancy to two and even want them both. That Zhang Zilin doesn't object to you hooking up with other pretty boys. Amazing. I admire you. How did you do it? Teach me. Tanghua changed the topic. Did you know that Lin Chu, Aosian, and Lei Yu are in closed-door cultivation? The three of them? Shui Yang's expression became serious. Why are they suddenly in closed-door cultivation? They're preparing to break through to the immortal monarch realm. They're planning to secretly surprise everyone. If I didn't pass by and bump into them, I wouldn't know about this. System. The host's lying skills are getting better and better. Zhang Zilin was already used to Tanghua tricking these immortal second generations. These people are really sinister. They're secretly in closed-door cultivation. It's obvious that they want to leave us far behind when they appear again. Shui Yang said fiercely, I have to inform Ling Qin about this. Tanghua, let's go into closed-door cultivation too. Your talent is so good, you'll definitely be able to reach the immortal monarch realm easily. They'll be envious to death. Tanghua said embarrassedly, I'm already at the immortal monarch realm. Shui Yang. This news is really bad. Ah, annoying. So you're the one. Shui Yang was furious, you woman. You actually hit it so deeply. I just accidentally broke through. You know that my talent is good and I can cultivate very quickly. I didn't hide it on purpose. Otherwise, why would I tell you the truth? Wuyo said. Shui Yang thought about it and agreed. Tanghua's talent was good to begin with. It wasn't strange for her to cultivate to the immortal monarch realm. Once I inform Ling Qin, we'll go into closed-door cultivation together. Don't let those guys surpass us. Ling Qin, Emperor Han's sister, had a very good relationship with Shui Yang. They could be considered friends who would die for each other. In the original plot, the original owner and Shui Yang parted on bad terms. Han Di and Ling Qin stood on the Water Di side and turned against Qing Di. In the original plot, Ling Qin planned to kill Yunichen and injured Yunichen several times. Unfortunately, she was unable to kill Yunichen. Now that Shui Yang was fine, and she had asked Ling Qin to go into seclusion with her, there was no more conflict between her and Yunichen. Shui Yang was going into seclusion while Tanghua had already decided to meet the last person, the Buddha Thearka's successor, Ming Xiu. How did Ming Xiu get into a conflict with Yunichen? That was because Ming Xiu had discovered that Yunichen had killed a lot of people. He was also entangled in karma. He could also tell that Yunichen's remnant soul was incomplete. If he persisted, it wouldn't be good for him or the celestial world. It might even bring about a disaster. Furthermore, Ming Xiu had pointed out that Yun Yichin's remnant soul was merely being restrained by someone. He hoped that Yun Yichin could break free from his original body and transcend as soon as possible. This was the Buddha Thearka's successor. He had a different kind of talent. Even if the heavens were hiding something, he still managed to discover some clues. Yun Yichin naturally didn't believe it, but Yun Yichin's original body did. Ming Xiu's actions weren't hidden from others. His persuasion of Yun Yichin was quickly discovered by the people behind the scenes. Thus, a genius Buddha, the arch of a generation, was killed by someone. I didn't expect that there would be such a talented successor among the Buddhists. Zhang Zilin shook his head after hearing Tanggua's words. He was taught to be a little rigid. That's why he got into trouble. He's still young after all. Why? Do you plan to teach him? Tanggua could tell what Zhang Zilin was thinking. Peak. Chapter 46-69. Other than being a little stubborn, Ming Xiu is not bad. His talent and comprehension are indeed strong. It's both good and bad to be able to see through some things under the cover of heaven's secrets. Where is he? Zhang Zilin asked. It was obvious that he was more interested in Ming Xiu. I don't know. I'll send him a message. He'll reply when he sees it. It was good to be a second-generation immortal. She had the contact information of all the second-generation immortals, so it was convenient for her to send messages. The person who had schemed against her had been seriously injured by Zhang Zilin. According to Zhang Zilin, it would be very difficult for him to recover. Everything had been arranged by him in advance, so he was most likely very assured. She wondered if he would break down when he appeared and found out what had happened outside. After parting ways with Tanggua, Yun Yichin, who had gone to the danger zone, had already fallen into the illusion that Shui Yang had experienced before. He was killing people inside. Yun Yichin was a little delirious. Although he had thought that the people who had suddenly appeared would not appear again, they were too realistic. Everyone from the Yun family had appeared in front of him. This time, his eyes were bloodshot. He had thought that it would be over after killing everyone from the Yun family. He had never expected Wei Xian's figure to appear in front of him again. Yun Yichin looked and was indeed stunned. Facing the gentle Wei Xian, Yun Yichin's killing intent had lessened. When he felt pain on his body, he instantly became clear-headed. Seeing Wei Xian's cold gaze, he laughed loudly. How can you be her? Break. She wouldn't do this to me, Yun Yichin said with a laugh. He was very confident as he shattered Wei Xian in front of him with his sword. The illusion was broken, and the surroundings returned to normal. Yun Yichin's body was bright red. He was heavily injured. He staggered as he ran and hurriedly found a safe place to heal. Wei Xian's figure suddenly appeared in his mind. In the end, he muttered, how can it be Wei Xian? Even if it's Wei Xian, so what? If he could kill Wei Xian once, he could kill Wei Xian a second time. A mere Wei Xian could not shake his Dao heart. Tanggua did not know what had happened to Yun Yichin. Even if she knew, she would scold him and say that he deserved it. Ming Xiu hadn't replied to her letter yet. She didn't know where Ming Xiu was, so she could only take Zhang Zilin to wander around. This could also be considered as letting Zhang Zilin understand the current scale of the immortal world. When will you be able to regrow your flesh and blood? Tanggua asked. I'm afraid it'll take over 100 years, said Zhang Zilin. It was not easy to regrow the flesh of a saint. In fact, it was possible for it to grow out suddenly, but such a body would not be able to support his strength. Sooner or later, it would collapse. Unless it was necessary, Zhang Zilin would not do such a meaningless thing. 100 years? It's not bad. In the original plot, Yun Yichin and Wei Xian would meet again about 300 years later. Now that she had helped Wei Xian's cultivation path should be slightly smoother. Even if it wasn't smooth, at least he could preserve his life and raise his cultivation much faster. Then, he should be able to come to the immortal world earlier. Go. In the wilderness, a handsome bald monk released an injured bird. Then, he walked out of the barren mountain. Wherever he passed, a ripple appeared. The barren mountain behind him also disappeared instantly because of the ripple. When the bald monk was about to fly away, he exclaimed and took out a message talisman. Chapter 46-70. Ming Xiu looked at the content in the message amulet, deep in thought. Looking for me? Ming Xiu found it strange. A few years ago, he heard some rumors that Tangwa had taken a liking to a handsome young man. She liked him so much that she even brought him home. He didn't care about his family background and just listened to the rumors. He didn't expect that Tangwa would take the initiative to ask him to meet her. He didn't know why. Ming Xiu replied to the message, asking where Tangwa was and that he would go to find her. As soon as he found out, he hurried on his way. It took him a few days to arrive at Tangwa's current location. "This is the handsome young man you like?" Tangwa didn't expect that Ming Xiu's first sentence would be this. Actually, Ming Xiu didn't care who this person was. However, he couldn't see through this person. Not only could he not see through him, but he couldn't even sense his existence. This shocked him. His master said that he had a pair of eyes that could see things that many people couldn't. Even if his master was right in front of him, he could see some things. However, he couldn't see through this masked and cloaked man at all. He only knew that he was unfathomable. He wasn't afraid because this man exuded a peaceful aura. It was as if he was one with heaven and earth. He could be sure that this man's existence wouldn't be dangerous. "This is Jiang Zilin," Tangwa introduced. "There's no handsome young man." What handsome young man? He just changed the way he addressed her. He was still saying that she was keeping a gigolo. This Ming Xiu wasn't a proper monk. He was jackals of the same tribe as those people. Everyone in the immortal world knows that you have taken a fancy to a handsome young man called Uniqin. You even brought him home. You two are also engaged. Ming Xiu said stubbornly. His handsome face was serious. The whole immortal world knows. You still want to hide it. Jiang Zilin felt uncomfortable. Uniqin was so shameless. He actually spread the news of him and Tangwa's engagement to the whole immortal world. He was indeed a wolf. In order to avoid alerting the enemy, he couldn't explain himself. He felt very aggrieved. What made him even more speechless was that these people all recognized him as Uniqin. Humiliation. "Why are you looking for me?" Ming Xiu's face was full of suspicion. "Could it be that you have some bad idea and want me to give you an excuse?" Tangwa's reputation in this world was not very good. She was either keeping a gigolo or being suspected of using other people as an excuse. Speaking of which, when the original owner went out to play in the past, she often used her friends as an excuse, saying that her friends asked her out to play. "No, I didn't use you as an excuse," Tangwa said. "My father allowed me to come out this time. I didn't lie to him." It was obvious that she didn't believe him. She said this every time. Tangwa felt extremely wronged. However, the original owner had done many such things. In fact, it was because they had a good relationship that no one minded. It was precisely because of this that she didn't mind helping them resolve the crisis one by one so that they wouldn't be implicated. These people were all heaven's proud sons. Their temperaments and moral character were all good. The immortal emperors had nurtured them very well. Jiang Zilin also said that many of them were the descendants of saints. The saints had sacrificed themselves for this world, so he definitely wanted to protect their descendants. Tangwa also understood why these people would be schemed against. It was because they were the descendants of saints. Their luck was definitely incomparable to that of ordinary people. They also had the merit of saints saving the world. If not for that scheme, even if they didn't become saints, they wouldn't be any weaker than the 8 great immortal emperors. Their immortal future was limitless. Chapter 4671. I won't fuss over this. Tell me, why are you looking for me? Ming Xiu's clear eyes landed on Tangwa. Suddenly, he exclaimed in surprise. He couldn't see through her. Why couldn't he see through her? He couldn't see through Jiang Zilin. He guessed that the other party must be some powerful figure. Since Tangwa couldn't see through him, he didn't understand. They were good friends and would often meet. They even went out to train together in the past. Didn't these friends all watch her grow up? What's wrong? Tangwa noticed Ming Xiu's situation. She knew that the other party must have seen through something. His insight was indeed extraordinary. There was a good saying, "The more you know, the faster you die." It was used to describe people like Ming Xiu. "Did you have a fortuitous encounter?" Ming Xiu said bluntly. "I can't see through you. I've cultivated to the immortal monarch realm," Tangwa said. Ming Xiu shook his head. I'm not talking about your cultivation. No, wait. You've advanced to the immortal monarch realm? Why isn't there any news of this in the immortal world? It's not a big deal. My father said that immortals have to keep a low profile. Tangwa randomly made up an excuse. It would be strange if Mingxiu believed her. He didn't probe further. I can't see through your fate. It's hazy, but there's a glimmer of light in the hazy. I don't know what's going on. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Mingxiu paused. It's a good thing. I can't sense any evil intentions. Then there's no problem. Since Mingxiu could see this, then Yunichin's fate must have been changed, right? Why did you come to find me? Mingxiu asked again. The change in Tangwa's body was a good thing. He didn't care too much as long as it wasn't a bad thing. Tangwa, how long until you reach the immortal monarch realm? I don't know. Let nature take its course. Mingxiu was different from others. If Tangwa said that others were in seclusion, it wouldn't affect Mingxiu. She thought of another way. Mingxiu should be very interested. Speaking of which, she had more fate with Buddhist cultivators. She had once been friends with many Buddhist cultivators and had received gifts from their Buddhist scriptures. In order to prevent Mingxiu from contacting Yun Yichin midway and being suspected by the other party and causing trouble, she planned to give Mingxiu a copy of the Buddhist scriptures stored in the system space so that he could study the scriptures in isolation. Previously, when I was training, I obtained some things. These things are useless to me. I remembered that you had helped me a lot, so I brought them back. I wanted to ask if you were interested. A smile appeared on Mingxiu's face. What is it? Mingxiu didn't find it strange that they would exchange gifts with each other. Tangwa had gone through a lot of trouble to deliver it to him, so he was a little touched. Sometimes, being a scapegoat was voluntary. Tangwa first took out a Buddhist scripture and handed it to Mingxiu. After Mingxiu flipped it open, he didn't move his eyes away. Tangwa and Jiang Zilin were also very patient. They had been waiting by the side. By the time Mingxiu finished reading, the sky was already dark. Wonderful. Mingxiu closed the book. Thank you very much. Tangwa took out a storage ring. It's too early to thank me. There's a pile here. Take it back and study it slowly. Mingxiu took the storage ring and looked inside. He was shocked. No matter how calm his heart was, he still couldn't control himself when he saw so many Buddhist scriptures. There are so many. Did you rob some Buddhist cultivator's territory? No, they're all legitimate. Don't worry. Mingxiu said seriously, I can't refuse these things. Mingxiu will remember this. We're all friends. Why are you saying that? Tangwa said. I think you can't keep me here. I have to go too. The two sides said goodbye. Tangwa thought for a while. She had nothing to do for the time being, so she took Jiang Zilin to wander around. Because Jiang Zilin said that he wanted to choose a place to place the inheritance of becoming a saint in the future, Tangwa took him around. The peak. He had been single for 10,000 years. Was he going to continue being single? That group of old men still hadn't made it clear. If he met his destined wife, would it be a success or failure? Who provoked you? Jiang Zilin naturally wouldn't be angry with Tangwa. She was his destined wife. How can people in the immortal world be so talkative? They're casually talking about things that haven't happened yet. Aren't they afraid that their tongues will rot? Tangwa almost laughed out loud. What did they say? In short, they're casually talking about things that haven't turned into reality yet, Jiang Zilin said. This is too outrageous. If too many people talk about it, many people will think that it's the truth. It's not good for the reputation. System. Host, you're jealous. Hurry up and coax her. Look at how sulky she was. She was too naive. No one can control what others say. There's a saying that goes, walk your own path. Let others talk. As for the truth, it will be revealed one day. Peak. Chapter 46-73. She also felt that those people were too much. They were all saying that she was keeping a gigolo. Jiang Zilin's mood improved. That's true. Why should I bother with those people? Let's go back to the desolate sea and study the mystic realms. Make the trials harder and teach those gossipy people a lesson. It's best if we can create a few illusion realms. As long as there are gossipy people in the illusion realms, we can kick them out. In this regard, Tangwa could only mourn for those people. After returning to the desolate sea, Jiang Zelin studied the mystic realms. Tangwa was cultivating not far away from him. For this, Jiang Zelin specially created a place for her to cultivate. With his array formation as a cover, no one would find out. The immortal world suddenly quietened down. The immortal emperors were all shocked. Why were all their children in seclusion? One day, the mystic Tharch and the other 7 immortal emperors sent a message to invite them to a gathering. The immortal emperors had their own gathering places. In less than 5 minutes, all the immortal emperors arrived at a pavilion on a tall mountain. Mystic Tharch, why did you invite us to a gathering? Did something big happen? The Lotus Tharch asked as he found his seat and sat down. The others arrived one after another. The Alchemy Tharch, who was wearing a plain robe, was covered in golden light. His entire body was filled with treasures. The Thunder Tharch, who was burly and had a fierce look in his eyes, seemed to be surrounded by lightning. The Buddha Tharch, who was wearing a monk's robe and had a calm expression, also showed a benevolent smile. The Water Tharch and the Han Tharch were both women. Both of them were very beautiful. The Water Tharch looked very gentle, while the Han Tharch looked colder. As for the Mystic Tharch, he had black hair and a blue robe. He was very mysterious and was best at array formations. The Mystic Tharch heard everyone's question and said, "Nothing much. I have been in seclusion for many years. I just came out to see an old friend." "I see." The Lotus Tharch did not think much about it. "That's true. Among us, you are the only one who is in seclusion most of the time. We can't even make an appointment." "What? Did you comprehend something after coming out this time?" The Mystic Tharch shook his head in distress. "No. After the calamity, there was nothing left. It's difficult. If there were some remnants, it would not be so tragic." The others heard the Mystic Tharch's words. Their ancestors were all sages. After the calamity, all the sages. Not only had the saints declined, but their other ancestors had also been severely injured. After the great tribulation of heaven and earth, the immortal world was rebuilt. No one knew how many years it took to recover to its current state. Those injured seniors were seriously injured. Because they were unable to cross the threshold of becoming a saint, they all died. Immortals were not immortal. The fall of the saints also told them that the saints were not immortal. Don't be sad. We're all immortal emperors and have a lifespan of hundreds of thousands of years. I don't believe that we can't comprehend the wonders of becoming a saint. Water Emperor said, unwilling to admit defeat. As long as one of us becomes a saint, the immortal world will be lucky. Once one of them became a saint, they could set up a platform and preach the Tao. Wouldn't the entire immortal realm benefit? Even if we can't, don't we still have our successor? The Dragon Emperor chuckled and said, they are the successors that we have carefully cultivated. In the future, even if we can't take charge of the overall situation, they can. That's right. That unruly lad from my family is also cultivating in seclusion now. He even said that he wouldn't come out until he reached the immortal Lord realm. This time, I've seen his determination. He wasn't just talking about it. Speaking of this, Pill Emperor was very gratified. My son, Aosian, is also in seclusion. The Dragon Emperor was also gratified. Aosian has always been lazy. I've never seen him so hardworking. It seems like the dragon race is going to prosper. Besides the Azure Emperor and the Mystic Tharch, the others praised their sons, daughters, and sisters. After praising them, they all looked at the Azure Emperor and the Mystic Tharch. Azure Emperor, I heard that your daughter took a liking to a pretty boy and even brought him home? The Thunder Emperor asked impolitely. He laughed and said, that's why I said that talent is a good thing. However, being lazy and extravagant is also useless. Peak. Chapter 4674. Lotus Tharch, hee. The Lotus Tharch's chuckle stunned all the immortal emperors. Looking at the Lotus Tharch's strange smile, they all had a bad feeling. Indeed, the Lotus Tharch's next words shocked them. Gua has already broken through to the immortal Lord realm. It was just before your kids went into seclusion. What lazy, extravagant? My Gua is just tired from cultivating. What's wrong with coming out to play? The lotus tharch said proudly. So what if she brought a pretty boy home? As long as Gua is satisfied. All the immortal emperors fell silent. Infuriating, too infuriating. They were just feeling proud, but the lotus tharch slapped them in the face. They were about to die from anger. The lotus tharch said leisurely, "It's good to cultivate diligently. However, if your cultivation doesn't improve for a long time, you can only say that you're rotten wood." Lotus tharch, you're too much. The lightning tharch couldn't help but shout, "Who are you calling rotten wood?" The lotus tharch said lightly, "I'm not talking about anyone. I'm talking about those who can't improve even if they keep cultivating. Isn't that right? I'm not talking about you or your kids, right?" All the immortal emperors gritted their teeth but couldn't rebut. Knowing that they couldn't win against the lotus tharch as he had a talented daughter, all the immortal emperors turned their attention to the mystic tharch. The mystic tharch suddenly had a bad feeling. However, he still smiled and looked at everyone. "Everyone, why are you looking at me? Aren't we talking about the kids and girls in seclusion?" Old Xian, the dragon tharch, sat beside the mystic tharch and placed one hand on his shoulder. He laughed and said, "I heard that you were looking for a successor many years ago. A few hundred years have passed. Have you found a successor yet?" "Well, not yet." The mystic tharch heaved a sigh of relief. "It depends on fate. Let's look for one soon. If we can't find one in the immortal world, we'll look for one in the next world." The alchemy tharch said, "Otherwise, when our kids and girls have all reached the immortal lord realm and your successor hasn't appeared, it won't be a problem of falling behind." The mystic tharch said seriously, "You're right. It's time to find a successor. Otherwise, I don't know who to pass my legacy to." "That's right," the Thunder Emperor said with satisfaction. "Then I hope you find a satisfactory successor soon. You have to hurry, or you won't be able to make it." The mystic tharch was indignant as he said, "The successor that I have chosen is naturally a prodigy. He will definitely be able to catch up." The immortal emperors gathered for a day and then dispersed. Before they left, they heard from the mystic tharch that he was going out for a stroll. His purpose was to find the person who could inherit his legacy. The immortal emperors didn't really care about this matter. Just as the mystic tharch said, it wasn't that easy to find a suitable successor. 20 years later, all the immortal emperors received news from the mystic tharch that he had found a suitable successor and had brought him back to nurture. All the immortal emperors sent their blessings one after another. They were all very curious as to what kind of successor the mystic tharch had found. However, after the mystic tharch found his successor, he told the other immortal emperors that he was going to go into seclusion to comprehend and would not interfere with external affairs for the time being. As for who his successor was, none of the immortal emperors knew, so they didn't ask. Since they were all in the immortal world, they would find out sooner or later. The immortal world returned to its peaceful state. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, 80 years had passed. "Jiang Zeline, I'm going to break through." On this day, Tangua opened her eyes and said to Jiang Zeline, who was beside her. Jiang Zeline was still wearing his cloak and mask. Hearing that Tangua was going to break through, his eyes were filled with joy. "Go ahead and break through. I'll protect you." Chapter 4675. That's not what I want to talk about. After the discussion, Jiang Zeline brought Tangua to a desolate and dangerous place in the celestial world to break through. Jiang Zeline set up a strong array. Even if an immortal emperor came, he wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. Tangua's breakthrough took 3 whole years. On that day, the celestial world shook. All the celestial chi in the celestial world rushed towards a certain place. With such a huge commotion, other than those in seclusion, everyone in the celestial world knew about it. They all followed the direction of the celestial chi. What do you all think? Green Emperor glanced at the immortal emperors. He didn't see Mystic Emperor and asked, "Mystic Emperor didn't come? He's most likely still in seclusion." Lightning Emperor said, "This scene looks like one breaking through. Let's go take a look. I'm a little excited." I wonder who's breaking through. Seems like this celestial world won't have 8 immortal emperors from now on. It will have 9. Pill Emperor said happily, let's go. We'll go take a look. At the same time, we'll help protect him in case anything goes wrong. To them, it was a good thing for the celestial world to have more immortal emperors. With their abilities, they wouldn't be able to figure out a way to become a saint. With more fresh blood, they might be able to figure it out one day. The immortal emperors rushed over. First, they had to pass through a desolate and dangerous place. To them, these dangers weren't much. What stopped them was a strong array. The standard of this array is really high. Dragon Emperor frowned. Our understanding of arrays isn't as good as Mystic Emperor's. If Mystic Emperor is here, we can still comprehend it. Is the person breaking through inside also an array expert? We might have to wait for him to come out before we know. Green Emperor said, let's wait here and see who he is. Water Emperor was curious. I've never heard of an immortal lord being so proficient in arrays. Has this person always been here? I don't know about that. The Buddha that Arch had a smile on his face. His countenance was kind, and his entire body was peaceful. He looked up into the clear sky and saw that a rainbow had actually appeared. However, this person's appearance should be a great kindness. The immortal emperors were really curious. They all waited outside nervously. The others from the immortal world were already outside the danger zone. Many of them hesitated for a moment before walking in. The immortal chi was still pouring into Tangua's body. This situation lasted for 3 days before it slowly stopped. At this moment, many people had already rushed to the side of the immortal emperors. Looking at the formation before them, if the immortal emperors didn't move, they didn't dare to move either. Just now, they heard from a few immortal emperors that someone was about to advance to the immortal emperor stage. In the current immortal world, advancing to the immortal emperor realm was a huge matter. Everyone who came wanted to see who the immortal emperor was, so they didn't leave. Another day passed. Tangua stopped absorbing immortal energy. She had finally advanced from the immortal monarch realm to the immortal emperor realm. In that instant, the withered grass around her seemed to have been rejuvenated. Fresh shoots quickly sprouted and grew crazily, even blossoming. Vertex. Chapter 4676. Not only did it happen around her, but it also happened outside the array formation. The immortal emperors were stunned when they saw this. Even when they broke through to the immortal emperor realm, such a miraculous phenomenon did not happen. The Buddha that Arch looked at the green leaves around him and the blooming flowers. He clasped his hands together and said, spring has come to life. Everyone, this person might be able to bring the immortal world an opportunity to become a sage. The Buddha Thearka's words made everyone happy. They had only heard that when one became a sage, there would be flowers everywhere. If the person inside was like this when he became an immortal emperor, then he should be able to become a sage soon, right? The mystic the Arch did not come. I wonder if he will regret it when he comes out. The Han the Arch said, this is a rare sight. The Lotus the Arch was already setting up the array formation. Even if it is not a sage, it can still benefit the people here. Sit down and meditate. He said this to the immortal emperors, but also to the people around him. Hearing the Lotus Thearka's words, everyone came to a realization and hurriedly followed. In front of the immortal emperors, no one dared to be rash. They all sat down and meditated. Tangua, who was inside, had already opened her eyes. She heard Jiang Zeline tell her about the situation outside. Let's go. Tangua said to Jiang Zeline. When they react, they won't be able to leave. Jiang Zeline said confidently, my array formation is not easy to break. However, it is time to go. He grabbed Tangua's waist and brought her back to the desolate sea. The immortals outside did not know about this at all. After returning to the desolate sea, Jiang Zeline invited Tangua to visit the mystic realm that he had spent 100 years creating. When the time was right, he could activate the mystic realm and give the people of the immortal world all kinds of tests. In the past 100 years, Jiang Zeline often went out. Even if he did not show up, the rumors of him keeping a gigolo had always been around. The main reason was that Yunichin had always been active in the immortal world. Whenever they saw him, they would think of this matter. The words of those from the immortal realm made him very unhappy. They said that Yunichin and Tanghua were becoming more and more compatible. This was because Yunichin had already advanced to the golden immortal realm many years ago and was envied by countless people in the immortal world. Many people were saying that Yunichin would only need less than 100 years to advance to the immortal monarch realm. Now, very few people looked down on Yunichin. He had used his strength to prove his ability. It was only a matter of time before he advanced to the high immortal realm, so no one dared to provoke him. Zhang Zilin was very angry about the discussion of the people of the immortal world. Therefore, when he came back, he made the mystic realm even more tricky. Who asked these people to like to talk about it? When do you plan to activate the secret realm? Tanghua asked. Zhang Zilin, wait a little longer. I plan to go out and take a look. Tanghua hid her cultivation level so that she was still in the immortal monarch realm. I wonder if Wei Xian has reached the immortal world. You'll know when you go out and ask around. Tanghua suddenly remembered that she had been in seclusion for 100 years. Didn't Zhang Zilin's flesh and blood grow back in 100 years? So she asked, has your flesh and blood grown back? It has already grown back. Zhang Zilin did not hide it, but he had no intention of taking off his mask. He felt that he was too good-looking. If others saw him, they would definitely stare at him. He did not like being stared at. Moreover, the appearance of a saint could easily charm one's mind and cause a lot of trouble. Moreover, the eyes of a saint could also affect people if they were looked at. Peak. His face that was covered was filled with joy. I'll help you see where Wei Xian is. Zhang Zilin's divine sense started to scan the immortal world. The people in the immortal world didn't notice at all. Not long later, he retracted his divine sense. I found Wei Xian. Her child has already been born. It looks to be 7 years old. Wei Xian should have gotten some opportunities. She's currently in the mystic immortal realm. Zhang Zilin continued, do you want to go see her? Where is she? Zhang Zilin paused and said, she's at the place where you broke through. She's comprehending there with the others. The phenomenon that appeared when you advanced to the immortal emperor realm was very different. Many immortals who rushed over benefited greatly and broke through quite a bit. Wei Xian is currently comprehending with that child. But since Tanghua was here, he had no choice but to follow her in. Let's go in then, Tanghua said. Yunichin did not refuse. Why hasn't the new celestial emperor come out yet? The Lotus Emperor asked curiously. It's been so long. Shouldn't he be out by now? The Thunder Monarch also frowned. That's right. Why isn't he out yet? Could it be that he doesn't want to come out? Is he shy? Why don't we call him out? The Alchemy Emperor suggested. The Dragon Emperor cleared his throat. Congratulations to the fellow immortals inside for breaking through to the immortal emperor realm. Why don't you come out now? No one replied. Tanghua heard this when she came in. She whispered to Zhang Zilin, remove that array formation. Otherwise, I'll suspect that they've been waiting here for a month. Okay, Zhang Zilin said. The array formation instantly shattered. Everyone was shocked. They all looked in that direction without blinking. They wanted to see what the 9th Celestial Emperor looked like. The Lotus Emperor and the others were all smiling. The Dragon Emperor was even more excited. He even said, luckily, we called him out. I suspect that Little Nine is asleep. The Thunder Monarch. I think Little Nine is shy. Peak. Chapter 4680. Of course, he knew that Tanghua had a mysterious masked person by her side. It wasn't a secret. He didn't ask further, but when he scanned Zhang Zilin, he was shocked. Why couldn't he see through this person? He was just casually scanning, but he couldn't see this person at all with his divine sense. He could only look with his eyes. Where did this person come from? The Lotus Supreme the Arch had already made up his mind to ask Tanghua about this person alone when he returned. When they went out, Tangwa purposely walked in Wei Xian's direction. Jiang Zelin had been paying attention to Wei Xian's position and told her the direction through voice transmission. Wei Xian was also walking out, but their group was even faster. The Lotus Supreme the Arch could have brought them out directly, but Tangwa said that they should walk together, and the Lotus Supreme the Arch agreed. At this moment, they had already walked out of the soul-crying forest to a safe place outside. Wei Xian and the child were already sitting in a beast carriage. Many immortals had mounts, and those who didn't would hire beast carriages to travel. Also, there were all kinds of flying Dharma treasures in the immortal world that only required immortal stones. Flying on a sword all the time consumed a lot of immortal power. The Lotus Supreme the Arch took out a flying Dharma treasure, and they all jumped on. Tangwa's gaze landed on Wei Xian. The immortal beast pulling the beast carriage under Wei Xian seemed a little different. It was completely white. Jiang Zelin also saw it and transmitted his voice to Tangwa. That immortal beast should have some divine beast bloodline, but it's rare. There are certain conditions to awaken it. Seems like Wei Xian had some fortuitous encounter. Tangwa wasn't surprised. Wei Xian's talent and providence weren't bad. It was normal for him to have a fortuitous encounter. I'm guessing that his immortal beast must be able to awaken his bloodline. Yunichin doesn't seem to have noticed her. No, I have to help. Gwr, what are you looking at? The Lotus Supreme the Arch noticed his daughter's gaze and also looked in Wei Xian's direction. Nothing. I just felt that the immortal beast was very beautiful, so I couldn't help but take a few more glances. The Lotus Supreme the Arch suddenly understood. Gwr, if you like it, I'll use treasures to exchange for it. Then let's go and ask if he's willing. If he's not, then forget it. The Lotus the Arch nodded. Of course, even if he doted on his daughter, he'd never thought of seizing something that already had an owner. If he really did that, the entire immortal dimension would probably laugh at him for not teaching his daughter well. Naturally, the Lotus the Arch did not go there himself. Instead, he sent a follower to inquire. At this moment, Yunichin also looked over and happened to see the attendant questioning Wei Xian. Wei Xian also raised his head, and naturally, Wei Xian's appearance was seen by Yunichin. In that instant, Yunichin felt as though he had been nailed to the ground. He didn't know how to react and could only stare blankly at Wei Xian. When the attendant returned, Yunichin's gaze was still fixed on him. Emperor Qing did not notice this. His attention was all on Tangwa. When the attendant came back, he asked, "How is it?" "That lady doesn't want to change." Tangwa hurriedly said, "If you don't want to, then forget it. It's not something rare. Let's go back." The Lotus Supreme the Arch said, If Gua likes immortal beasts, I'll arrange for someone to find one. I guarantee it'll be better looking than that immortal beast." "No need. I suddenly don't like it that much." The Lotus Supreme the Arch did not force her. What kind of treasure did his daughter not have? Just now, he might have just felt that it was not bad. After looking at it a few more times, it was indeed very ordinary. Peak. Chapter 4681. Yunichin came back to his senses, but he couldn't help but look in Wei Xian's direction. Wei Xian? Was that Wei Xian? That identical face had already been buried in his dusty memories, but when he saw it, he instantly recalled that it was Wei Xian, the person who had accompanied him for many years but had been killed by his sword. Yunichin's gaze was so obvious that Wei Xian noticed it. Not only did Wei Xian notice it, but so did his son, Wei Ming. "Mother, do you know that person? Why is he staring at us?" Wei Ming asked. Wei Xian took a closer look at Yunichin. She pondered for a moment before shaking her head. "Mother doesn't know that person, and I don't know why he's looking at us. Maybe he's looking at Little White and not us? The person who came to ask Little White was in that group." "Mother, I don't want to sell Little White." Wei Ming touched the immortal beast's neck. "Little White is my friend." Wei Xian smiled and patted Wei Ming's head. Why would Mother sell Ming Er's friend? That person had offered a high price, but she had never been tempted. Wei Xian looked in Tangwa's direction. When he saw the side of Tangwa's face, he was suddenly stunned. He wanted to take a closer look, but the Lotus Supreme Thearka's flying Dharma treasure had already been activated and disappeared. Maybe I saw wrongly. Yunichin also retracted his gaze. Suspicion rose in his heart. That woman shouldn't be Wei Xian. She didn't know him at all. If she was Wei Xian, she should have come over to interrogate him and not see him in deep thought. Yunichin heaved a sigh of relief, but he couldn't help but recall the scene from before. He wanted to throw that scene to the back of his mind, but he couldn't do it. He planned to see if that person was Wei Xian or someone else when he had the time. His attention had been on Wei Xian, so he naturally didn't see the little boy beside him. When they returned home, the Lotus Supreme the Arch immediately called Tanguo away. Guo, who's that beside you? Do you know his background? The Lotus Supreme the Arch asked worriedly. He didn't know if that person had used a treasure to conceal his aura or if he was very powerful. Tanguo said, his name is Jiang Zelin. I found him by chance. I heard that he has always been by your side. Can I trust him? Emperor Qing was still worried. I can't see through him. I'm afraid that he will harm you. Tanguo revealed a smile. Father, don't worry, he won't harm me. I picked him up. When the Azure the Arch heard this, he felt strange. He felt that this sentence had a different meaning. The Lotus Emperor, can you explain it clearly? What I mean is that he is a good man and can be my Taoist companion. This day would come sooner or later, so Tanguo decided to tell Emperor Qing the truth first. The Qing Emperor's eyes widened. He knew something was wrong, so this was what she meant. He stared at Tanguo, trying to figure something out. Guo, is it okay for you to do this? Although he was not satisfied with Yunichin, his conscience actually hurt a little when Guo was two-timing. Father, what's wrong with this? There are already many variables. Brother Ichin only has eyes for cultivation, but this person can always accompany me to play. I need to consider this carefully. The Lotus Supreme the Arch said seriously, that's true. I feel that Yunichin doesn't care about you. Guo, you're finally awake. If you don't like Yunichin, then find a chance to make things clear to him. The Peak. Chapter 4682. I know. There's nothing between me and Jiang Zelin. I'm just observing him. If both of them are not suitable, then I don't want either of them. I'll find someone else that I'm satisfied with. The Lotus Emperor was no longer worried about his daughter finding a Tao partner. His daughter already understood that she had to find someone who treated her well and satisfied her. She did not want to be treated coldly. The thing that he was most dissatisfied with about Yunichin was that he could not see his sincerity towards Guo. All right, do as you see fit. You're my daughter. Of course, I have to choose someone good. The Lotus Emperor thought of Jiang Zelin and said, why is Jiang Zelin wearing a mask? Bring him over to see me another day. I'll help you observe him. I haven't told him about this. There's still a barrier between us. Tanguo rejected. Let's wait and see. We'll talk about it after I've made a decision. He's rather good-looking. I won't let you see him for now. We'll talk about it after I've made a decision. I don't want others to see him and covet his looks. The Lotus Emperor's mouth twitched. He felt that the people of the immortal world were right. His daughter liked pretty boys. Yunichin was already good-looking enough. Jiang Zelin was covered so tightly. How good-looking would he be? The Lotus Emperor was very curious now. Tanguo thought of something important. Father, why don't I see the Mystic Emperor today? The Mystic Emperor should be in seclusion. The Lotus Emperor did not care about this. He's often in seclusion to study array formations and the way to become a sage. It's a pity that he hasn't made any progress. The Lotus Emperor could not help but sigh. Tanguo asked about the Mystic Emperor because Jiang Zelin had confirmed that the 7 immortal emperors present today were not the mastermind. This was also why she brought Jiang Zelin back. She wanted to confirm if there was anything wrong with these people. Knowing that there was nothing wrong, she heaved a sigh of relief. These immortal emperors were on good terms with her. She did not want them to be the mastermind. The Mystic Emperor did not come. That meant that the Mystic Emperor was still a suspect. The Mystic Emperor was indeed often in seclusion and rarely showed himself. I heard that the Mystic the Arch took in a successor, the Azure Supreme the Arch said. It's a pity that he went into seclusion after taking in a successor. I don't know who the lucky one is. Based on the Mystic Thearch's tone, his successor should not be simple. Guo, you have to cultivate well. If you are caught up, you will become a joke. Tanghua was silent. Catch up with her? Was he dreaming? She was already an immortal emperor. Given some time, it would be easy for her to surpass the immortal emperors of the immortal world. Got it, father. I'll go find mother. Go. On the way to find Hanro, Tanghua was already thinking about how to continue improving her cultivation. In short, no matter who that person was, as long as she became stronger, all the schemes would be destroyed. After catching up with Hanro, she returned to her place. Emperor Qing told Hanro about Jiang Zilin. After Hanro heard about it, she didn't know what to say. Should we call that young man over and ask him? I heard from the people of the immortal world that that person has always been by Guo Er's side. His strength is unfathomable. Speaking of which, he is better than Yunichin. Just the fact that he is by Guo Er's side is better than Yunichin's. Emperor Qing said, I think so too. However, Guo Er said that now is not the time. They are still under observation. She also said that that person is good-looking and that we cannot let him appear for the time being unless things are settled. Hanro was speechless. Who does Guo Er take after? She is not like you or me. Peek. Chapter 4683. A few days later, Yunichin went out again to greet Tanghua, the Lotus Supreme Arch, and his wife. Yunichin wasn't going to train this time. Instead, he was going to find Wei Xian to resolve his doubts. If he couldn't resolve his doubts, he felt that he wouldn't be able to continue cultivating. That woman had better not be Wei Xian. If she was, his Dao heart would definitely be shaken. He could only kill her again so that he could cultivate in peace. Just like in the original plot, when Yunichin found Wei Xian, he realized that she had a child with her. That child was Wei Ming. He hadn't noticed it the last time. Now that he was observing closely, he realized that Wei Ming was very similar to him when he was young. He could even feel the connection from their bloodline. He didn't even need to ask Wei Xian to know that the woman was Wei Xian. He had also heard Wei Xian's friends call her Wei Xian, and the child's name was Wei Ming. Wei Xian's journey to the immortal world hadn't been smooth. She had made friends in the immortal world, but she had also made many enemies. Yunichin had been determined to kill Wei Xian recently. The people around Wei Xian were quite powerful. It wouldn't be easy for him to kill Wei Xian without anyone noticing, especially when he saw that there were two decent men beside Wei Xian who were fawning over her. He felt very uncomfortable. If not for the fact that they were quite powerful, he would have wanted to kill them. However, those two men were also Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals. He was confident that he could kill them, but he would have to pay a huge price. He had heard that the two admirers of Wei Xian weren't simple people. If he didn't handle it properly, he would cause trouble. One of them was the young master of the Su family in Tsang State, Su Sai. The other was the young master of Crane Sea Island, Du Huai. If he killed them without caring about anything, the Lotus Supreme the Arch wouldn't be able to protect him. Yunichin was thinking about how to kill Wei Xian, so he followed Wei Xian's group every day. Wei Xian and Wei Ming attracted all his attention, especially Wei Ming, who was very similar to him when he was young. This made him hesitate. Just as Yunichin couldn't make a decision, Wei Xian and Wei Ming were in danger. At that time, only Su Sai was by Wei Xian's side. It was unknown who wanted Wei Xian's life, but they were about to fall into a desperate situation. According to Yunichin's thinking, he naturally hoped that they would all die. But in the end, he didn't want them to die, so he helped them. Yunichin had saved them all, so he naturally became acquainted with Wei Xian. Yunichin had mixed feelings when he saw Wei Xian and the others looking at him with grateful expressions. Originally, he had wanted to kill her. Because of a moment of hesitation, he saved her and earned her gratitude. Yunichin did not know what to say. How could Wei Xian not remember him? That unfamiliar gaze made him uncomfortable. If young Master Yun doesn't mind, why don't I treat you to a meal? Wei Xian said, her eyes crinkling as she smiled. She was truly grateful. Although she still had a trump card, it would be gone once it was used. It was left to her by her master. She felt that it was a loss to use it to resolve today's crisis. Yunichin subconsciously refused, but Su Sai and Wei Ming were very enthusiastic and insisted on dragging him along. He couldn't refuse and could only follow. He realized that Wei Ming kept looking at him and felt a little nervous. When he saw Su Sai taking care of Wei Xian in every possible way, he felt a little strange. He was even a little angry, but he couldn't show it. Tangwa knew that the two of them had met and gotten to know each other, so she decided to come out for a walk. The peak. Chapter 4684. Currently, Wei Xian was already attracted to Su Sai. The reason why Du Huai was not by her side was because she had clearly rejected Du Huai. Du Huai had gone to recuperate. Now, they were just waiting for Wei Xian to agree to Su Sai. Yuni Chen was anxious to reveal the truth to Wei Xian, causing Wei Xian to recover his memories. My father asked you before, but he said he couldn't see through you. He thought you would harm me. At this moment, Tangwa and Jiang Zelin had already left the family Tang and were strolling outside. She had just cultivated to the immortal emperor realm. Although there was no problem with her realm, she had no intention of continuing to cultivate. It took a long time for an immortal emperor to reach the saint realm. Moreover, she was only at the early stage of the immortal emperor realm. There was no need to rush. Fortunately, the other immortal emperors did not notice you that day. If they realized that they couldn't see through you, they would definitely be curious about you. They might even suspect that you were the one who broke through to the immortal emperor realm and ran away. Jiang Zelin was confused. What do you mean? Make your cultivation lower on the surface, just like me, Tangwa said. You should have such a secret technique, right? Jiang Zelin was enlightened.
Yes.
As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Zelin's cultivation on the surface changed to the immortal monarch realm. He still looked like he had just reached the immortal monarch realm. Tangwa smiled. Yes, that's it. In this way, the next time the immortal emperors notice you, they won't be suspicious. There are many immortal monarchs in the immortal world now. It's not rare. If you follow me, no one will pay attention to you. When Yunichin's matter is settled, I will bring you to see my parents officially. Jiang Zelin was happy. Okay. He understood what it meant to officially meet them. He would have a legitimate identity. I will give you my sage inheritance. You can find a chance to give it to your father. Tangwa shook her head. There's no hurry. We can talk about this later. You can give it to him when the mystic realm opens. Oh, right. Is my father related to the saints? Yes, Jiang Zelin said. All the famous immortal emperors in the immortal world are related to the saints. Okay, then I'll let my father enter the secret realm, Tangwa said. Entering the secret realm should be better for his cultivation and state of mind, right? Jiang Zelin said. Of course, the arcane realms that I've set up cover a lot of areas. As long as you can pass the trials, even if you don't receive the succession of the martial sacred realm, you will still benefit greatly. Then let my father go. Jiang Zelin thought about it and decided that this was a good idea. It would be better for his cultivation. As for the things he wanted to give to his future father-in-law, he had a lot of treasures. He would look for them later. In addition, when the mystic realm gave out rewards, as long as it was a level that his future father-in-law passed, he would give more rewards out of his personal treasury. Jiang Zelin's spiritual sense enveloped the entire immortal world. Only a few places were concealed by heaven's secrets and profound array formations. He couldn't see them. Most of the time, there were no problems. He would often notice Yunichin and tell Tangwa about what was going on over there. So far, they had been out for half a month. During this half a month, Yunichin, Wei Xian, and the others formed a team to train. When Yunichin found out that Wei Xian had ascended to the immortal world less than 10 years ago, he was very shocked by the mother and son's cultivation speed. What he was most unhappy about was that Wei Xian, who was originally as gentle as water to him, was now only treating Su Sai and was very cold to him, her husband. He didn't forget his own identity. He didn't even forget that he had to kill Wei Xian to be able to walk out of his current heart demon. Peak. Chapter 4685. Yes, Wei Xian's appearance had caused him to develop inner demons. He also knew that as long as he killed Wei Xian and Wei Ming, he should be able to break through to the Immortal Lord Realm very quickly. The Immortal Lord Realm was so tempting. However, he couldn't do it. Wei Xian and Su Sai's interactions were like a thorn in his eyes every day. The more it was like this, the more he didn't want to kill Wei Xian. He even had the thought of snatching Wei Xian back. He thought that even if he had to kill Wei Xian, he had to make her remember him again or fall in love with him before he killed her. The current Yunqin had fallen into a perverted state of mind. He wasn't willing to let Wei Xian forget about him. Therefore, after considering it for a while, he decided not to kill Wei Xian. Wei Xian naturally felt that Yunqin treated her differently. She became more and more distant from Yunqin. After one training session, she even proposed to break up with Yunqin. Su Sai naturally couldn't wait. Previously, he was very grateful to Yunqin. Now, he could only be wary. Yunqin was a rather proud person. After being rejected by Wei Xian, he couldn't continue to stay with them. However, he didn't intend to give up. Not training together didn't mean that they wouldn't meet again. Su Sai probably knew that if he didn't settle down with Wei Xian's charm, she might attract more people. Therefore, he increased his pursuit of Wei Xian. However, he didn't expect Yunqin to be so shameless and appear in front of Wei Xian again on the second day after they separated. When he questioned him, Wei Xian actually said that they were just going the same way and not going to train together. However, Yunqin's eyes were on Wei Xian. How could he not know what Wei Xian meant? Therefore, Yunqin and Su Sai started to fight each other out of jealousy. This made Wei Xian start to dislike Yunqin. She thought that this person was a bit shameless. She didn't agree, but he was still pestering her. In short, she didn't have a good impression of Yunqin. Yunqin's mood worsened when he realized that Wei Xian's attitude was cold. However, he didn't admit defeat. Instead, he became even more persistent. He didn't like to see Wei Xian treat him so coldly. He suddenly missed the gentle and understanding Wei Xian. This kind of person? Tanghua knew everything about Yunqin. He might not like Wei Xian that much. Zhang agreement. S is no longer in her. In her eyes. No, S in her eyes. You know so much? Tanghua was surprised. You said you were single for 10,000 years. Those who have lived long have seen many things, Zhang explained. Yunqin probably likes Wei Xian, but Wei Xian can't compare to him becoming an immortal. He's killed Wei Xian for who knows how many lifetimes. Wei Xian probably doesn't want such a fatal love. The two of them weren't too far away from Yunqin and Wei Xian. They were only a city away. Tanghua was waiting for the matter between Yunqin and Wei Xian to blow up. After the matter between Wei Xian and Yunqin blew up, she could break off her relationship with Yunqin openly without damaging her father's reputation. Not only that, but Yunqin would also bear the reputation of being a scumbag and a heartless man. As for the person behind this, she wasn't afraid of anything. She was only afraid that the other party wouldn't appear and would wait for an opportunity to act in secret. Just as Tanghua was waiting for the matter with Wei Xian to blow up, she received a message from Aosian. Aosian, I'm out of seclusion. I'm at the Immortal Lord Realm. How about we meet up when you're free? Chapter 4686. Aosian was the first to inform Tanghua because he wanted to tell her that he was the second person to advance to the Immortal Monarch realm. Tanghua agreed, all right. Then, she told Aosian her current location. After Aosian found out, he said that he would rush over in a few days and asked her to wait. Not long later, Tanghua received another message from Leiyu. Leiyu, I broke through to the Immortal Monarch realm. The others shouldn't have, right? Tanghua, yes. Aosian just said that he broke through too. Leiyu, fuck. Aosian is one step ahead of me again. Wait, I'll be right there. One day later, Tanghua received a message from Shui Yang. I'm in the Immortal Monarch realm now. Let's meet up. Did anyone else come out? Tanghua, Aosian and Leiyu came out a day earlier than you. Shui Yang, that's within my expectations. Lingqin hasn't come out yet. Has Lin Chu come out? Not yet. He should be a little later. Lin Chu was a little special compared to the others. His cultivation techniques' improvement meant that his alchemy skills had improved as well. Hence, he wasn't as fast as the others. Shuai-Yang, all right, let's meet up then. Not long later, the immortal emperors knew that Lei Yu, Aoxian, and Shuai-Yang had advanced to the immortal monarch realm. Because of this, the immortal emperors gathered together again. This time, it was the Water Emperor, Dragon Emperor, and Lightning Emperor who sent messages to the others. When they arrived at the same place, everyone was surprised to find that the Mystic Emperor was here too. Seeing the Mystic Emperor, they were reminded of the new Immortal Emperor. They forgot to boast and directly told the Mystic Emperor that the new Immortal Emperor hadn't shown up yet. The Mystic Emperor frowned. He ran away after breaking through and hasn't shown up yet? Yes, he hasn't shown up yet. I don't know what happened. The Cyan Emperor didn't understand. We've already expressed our goodwill. Who doesn't want 2 more Immortal Emperors to come out? If he knows, he shouldn't show up. That's right. That little 9 should have a very high understanding of array formations. I felt that I wouldn't be able to break the array formation that blocked us. The Pill Emperor said, if you were there that day, we might have some clues. The mystic Thearch's expression turned serious as he said, the other party has yet to show himself. Could it be that he has some ulterior motive, or that he has something to hide? As soon as he said this, everyone was stunned. What purpose could he have? You guys are talking about the heaven and earth anomaly. Could it be that this person has the legacy of becoming a saint and is thus afraid that we are plotting against him? Once the mystic Thearch said this, everyone started to speculate. That's right. If the new immortal emperor really had this, it was possible for him to escape on his own. To be honest, after hearing about the inheritance of becoming a saint, there was not a single person here who was not tempted. At this moment, they could also understand. If that's the case, it's possible, Pill Emperor said. If that's the case, unless the other party becomes a saint, it's impossible for them to show themselves. Water Emperor shook her head. I can understand. If I got this, I would also want to hide and train. After saying that, she laughed. If you and I are like this, the others will naturally think the same. The Buddha Thearch said, now that things have come to this, if the other party wants to hide, we won't be able to find them. Why don't we just wait? When the other party becomes a saint, perhaps he will show himself. At that time, we will go and ask for guidance. Previously, when I went to that place, it was a peaceful scene. That's enough to prove that he isn't a scoundrel. He didn't show himself because he was worried about his own safety. When the other party becomes a saint, it might be our chance. Peak. Chapter 4687. The Buddha Thearch was rather open-minded. Everyone else, after being pointed out like this, felt their uneasiness disappear. That's right. Anyone who met such a person would hide. Who would take it out? There were so many immortal emperors here. It would be strange if the other party was not afraid. Let's not offend this person. It's all fate. The Buddha Thearch advised. Don't be too concerned. It's not good for your cultivation. Everyone agreed. They agreed with the Buddha Thearch. The mystic Thearch saw everyone's reaction and did not say anything more. Instead, he asked, that's right. Why did you call me out for this gathering? It can't be just for this, right? His gaze landed on the Water Thearch, the Dragon Thearch, and the Thunder Thearch. He had received messages from the 3 of them. At the mention of this, the Water Thearch and the other 2 were all smiles. They talked about how their sons and daughters had broken through to the Immortal Lord realm. The mystic Thearch was enlightened. I see. Congratulations to all of you then. Next, it was time for the Water Thearch and the other 2 to boast about their sons and daughters. The other immortal emperors snorted for a while and then dispersed. At this moment, Tanghua, Lei Yu, Aoxian, and Shuai-Yang met in a restaurant in the city. The 3 people in front of Tanghua are all smiling, and their tone seems to be much tougher than before. Hearing them boast, Tanghua smiled but did not say anything. The 3 of them boasted for a long time. When they saw how calm Tanghua was, their smugness disappeared. They felt that there was no sense of accomplishment. That's right. Why would they be so foolish as to boast in front of Tanghua? Weren't they looking for trouble? She had been in seclusion for 20 years, and became an immortal Lord Realm Great Luo. What about them? They had been in seclusion for 100 years. The complacent smiles on the trio's faces suddenly disappeared, replaced by sadness. Soon, they were no longer sad. Their attention landed on Jiang Zilin. Shuiyang said, "Tanghua, you haven't changed your partner this time." "That's right. The one beside you is still the same one." Lei Yu smiled. Aoxian looked at Jiang Zilin and even patted his shoulder. "Brother Jiang, you are so infatuated. How did Tanghua coax you to let her hug you?" "Jiang Zilin, there's no one around, just him." Tanghua's face darkened. These people were really restless. She then formed a seal and set up a soundproof array. Seeing her actions, they were a little puzzled. "Do you think that you are very powerful just because you have reached the high immortal realm?" The three of them hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Of course. Even if I'm not as strong as you, I'm still stronger than most people in the immortal world." "Then do you know what realm I am at?" Shuiyang asked. Could it be that he's already at the middle stage of the immortal monarch realm? Could it be the late stage? Lei Yu asked in shock. Aoxian replied, "In any case, it's impossible for you to be an immortal emperor. That's normal. With your talent, I don't think it'll be a problem for you to reach the late stage immortal monarch realm in 100 years. Sorry, I'm really in the immortal emperor realm. The immortal emperor who ran away last time was me." The smiles on Shuiyang, Aoxian, and Lei Yu's faces stiffened as they stared at Tanghua in bewilderment. Their bodies almost split apart. "You're just bragging, right?" The three of them said in unison, "You must be lying to us. You don't have to brag so much just to attack us." Tanghua said, "Do you think I'll lie to you? If it wasn't for this, would the new immortal emperor run away after breaking through?" The three of them fell silent. That's right. Tanghua didn't have to brag so much just to make them envious. They were already envious of her. This kind of thing was easily exposed. There was no need for her to lie. Peak. Chapter 4688. The three of them looked at Tanghua and scolded, "Pervert." Shuiyang said, "I don't think I need a friend like you. I think knowing you is the biggest mistake in my life." Lei Yu hammered his head. This fellow was too scary. Aoxian said, "I am a divine dragon, but I am being suppressed by you. The heavens are so unfair. If you don't have enough talent, you have to work hard to make up for it." Tanghua smiled. "Help me keep this a secret. I have a huge plan. Do you want to do it together?" The three of them quickly calmed down and asked with interest, "What plan?" "Secretly cultivate to immortal emperor and shock everyone." As soon as Tanghua's words came out, the three of them were stunned. After thinking about it for a while, they felt that it was a very beautiful sentence. They were the second generation of immortals and didn't suffer much. They were born with glory. But at the same time, along with glory came the gazes of all kinds of people and the encouragement of their fathers. Being suppressed from above, no matter how glorious he could only suffer a blow. They were a little envious of Tanghua. She was the 9th immortal emperor of the celestial world. As long as this matter was exposed, she would be on the same level as the 8 immortal emperors. Lei Yu said, "Actually, I wanted to, but cultivating to immortal emperor isn't something that can be done in a short time." "That's right. If I could secretly cultivate to the immortal emperor realm and shock everyone in the end, I would be willing to go into seclusion for another 200 years, Aoxian said seriously. "It's a pity that there's an insurmountable gap between the immortal monarch realm and the immortal emperor realm." Shuiyang said, "Yes, not to mention 200 years, 300 years, 500 years, or even a few thousand years, you might not be able to reach immortal emperor realm." The corners of Tanghua's lips curled up. "What if I have the insights of countless immortal emperors, including my own insights?" Tanghua didn't look at the insights of immortal emperors. She relied on her own insights to break through. If she looked at those insights, she might not need 100 years. She would only need a few decades to break through. She didn't look because she was counting the time Wei Xian would take to go to the celestial world. She planned to cultivate slowly. Not long ago, her heart suddenly skipped a beat as she felt an instinctive sense of danger. This kind of thing was very mysterious. Regarding this sense of danger, she was not sure if the other party was targeting her or the people in front of her. The reason for that was because this sense of danger was revolving around them. It was not that someone wanted to harm them had appeared. Instead, it was that someone had the intention to harm them, and she had sensed it in advance. Previously, Zhang Zilin had said that the phenomenon of her breaking through to the immortal emperor realm was very special. It might be even more powerful than the average immortal emperor. At that time, her chances of becoming a saint would be even higher. Even if she did not look at the inheritance of becoming a saint in his hands, she would be able to comprehend it herself. These people had always been the targets of their schemes. As long as the mastermind and Yun Yichen existed, they would be in danger. Since that was the case, she planned to persuade these people to go back and cultivate. If I have so many insights, the time it would take for me to break through to the immortal emperor stage would be greatly reduced. Lei Yu was the first to express his opinion. Then, he looked at Tanghua with anticipation. Do you have any? The other two stared at her as well, as if asking, do you have one? Was he really going to take it out? If there really was one, they would naturally be willing to go into seclusion to comprehend it. This was a great opportunity. I have one, Tanghua replied. Not only do I have one, but I can also provide a place for you to cultivate. When the time comes, I will protect you all and break through to the immortal emperor stage. Like me, you can run away after breaking through. They won't be able to catch you. Peek. Chapter 4689. Aosian laughed out loud. Sure, as long as you have it, I'll do it. I'll join too. Lei Yu said, then I'll let that arrogant old man of mine see it. I'll secretly cultivate to the immortal emperor realm and make his eyeballs fall to the ground before fighting with him. Aosian said, I want to beat my old man up too. He always wears shiny clothes and wears all sorts of shiny things on his body. He's asking for a beating. Zhang Zilin quietly watched as the three of them were tricked by Tanghua to continue cultivating. He was still a little confused. He felt that this was just a temporary idea of hers. However, he didn't ask about it for now as he planned to send the three of them away first. The insights that Tanghua mentioned about advancing to the immortal emperor realm were actually given to her by him. Later on, he found out that she didn't look at it at first. She also mentioned to him that she wanted to give it to her friends, and he didn't mind at all. If a few more immortal emperors appeared, the chances of someone obtaining the sage inheritance in the mystic realm he set up would be higher. The immortal world had declined for many years, and it was time for new sages to appear to help spread the teachings of those old men. Those old men used to dream of finding other sacred grounds, but they couldn't do it anymore. They could only rely on these juniors. With Zhang Zilin's help, the few of them instantly appeared in the desolate sea. Before they could be shocked at Zhang Zilin's strength, they were pushed by Tanghua to the place where she was in seclusion. Zhang Zilin set up an array here, and only Zhang Zilin could break it. With Tanghua's strength, she wouldn't be able to break it unless she became a sage. The three of them had many questions to ask Tanghua. They weren't fools and felt that things weren't simple. Also, who was this Zhang Zilin to be able to teleport so far in the immortal world? However, Tanghua didn't give them a chance. After tricking them into the array, she gave them a bunch of insights to advance to the immortal emperor realm. Then, Zhang Zilin reactivated the array. Cultivate well. When you're about to break through to the immortal emperor realm, I'll come back to protect you guys. Tanghua smiled at them. Then, Zhang Zilin brought her back to the tea house. In the blink of an eye, Shui Yang and the other two looked at each other and didn't know how to express themselves. Damn, it's really insights to advance to the immortal emperor realm. Aosian took a look at the jade slip that Tanghua gave them. This, Aotion. Aotion sounds familiar. Isn't this the name of my dragon race's divine ancestor? Was this the enlightenment of the dragon race's divine ancestor when he became an immortal emperor? Don't just stand there. The three of them got busy and soon. Lei Yu said excitedly, Lei Kue? Lei Kue is the name of my Lei clan's sacred ancestor. This. Is this really the enlightenment my sacred ancestor had when he advanced to the immortal emperor stage? Why would such a thing appear? The three of them then flipped through the other pages. There were many names that they had heard of before, and they were shocked. Let's not talk about Tangua's intentions, but we can be sure that she wants to give these things to us. Lei Yu said, she even locked us here. Maybe she really wants us to break through to the immortal emperor realm. Chapter 4690. Could it be that something big is about to happen? Aosian's expression turned ugly. Have you noticed that ever since last time, Tangua has been cultivating wholeheartedly? She's already at the immortal emperor realm. If nothing big happened, why would she urge us to cultivate? Shui Yang gritted her teeth. If something big really happened, our immortal monarch realm wouldn't be enough. So, let's cultivate. This kind of opportunity is hard to come by. There are probably very few people who can break the surrounding array. Tangua has already created the conditions for us. There's no reason for us not to cultivate. What she left for us are not only the cultivation experiences of our ancestors, but also those of other seniors. If we can't break through to the immortal emperor realm within 200 years, then we're too stupid. Shui Yang is right. Although this is the desolate sea, the immortal qi in the array is dense. It can be considered a cultivation holy land. Aosian said, then let's cultivate. If there's anything we don't understand, we can discuss it together. On the other side, Jiang Zelin was already asking Tangua why she suddenly decided to lock them in to cultivate. Not long ago, I felt a sense of danger surrounding us. Jiang Zelin's expression changed slightly. I didn't notice it. It's not killing intent. It's a sense of danger. It's like someone wants to harm us but hasn't done anything yet. Tangua explained. If it's killing intent, you should be able to sense it. Jiang Zelin was enlightened. This should be your talent. You can predict danger in advance. Is the danger surrounding you? And now that they're at the immortal monarch realm, they'll definitely be proud. Who knows, they might even wander around the immortal world. If the person behind them really wants to kill them, it'll only be a matter of seconds. You won't be able to save them. Why don't you throw them in to cultivate? It'll save you some trouble, and you can also prepare to open the secret realm in the future. Jiang Zelin laughed. That's good too. Are you going to trick the remaining three like this too? Tangua replied, of course. Let them go together. We all know each other and can take care of each other. Not long later, Ming Xiu came out. He first told Tangua about his breakthrough. Tangua called him over and tricked him. She said that to go to that place, she could give him a treasure related to Buddhism. Ming Xiu fell for it and was sent into the formation. He was stunned when he saw Shui Yang and the other two. When he received the Buddha saint's insights, he obediently sat at the side and began to comprehend it, not raising any doubts at all. The enlightenment of the sacred ancestor was extremely valuable, and he didn't want to waste any time. Shui Yang muttered, it seems that the remaining people can't avoid being brought in. Ming Xiu is quite willing. You're not either? Aosian asked with a smile. Shui Yang rolled her eyes speechlessly. In the end, she silently comprehended it. A few days later, Lin Chu and Ling Qin appeared one after another. After meeting with Tangua, they were also thrown here. When the two of them saw the enlightenment of their saint ancestor, they were willing to cultivate as well. At this point, Tangua was able to get her important friends into the array formation to cultivate. She was finally able to feel at ease. The danger that surrounded them did not dissipate. Instead, it grew even more intense. On this day, Tangua and Jiang Zelin rode on a flying magic treasure and rushed to the next place. Previously, in order to send those people in to cultivate, she delayed for a few days and didn't manage to catch up with Yunichen. As soon as she finished her business, she planned to follow them to see how Wei Xian and Yunichen were doing. According to Jiang Zelin, Su Sai should be about to confess her feelings to Wei Xian. Peak. Chapter 4691. When the time came, Yunichen might not be able to accept it and would definitely make a move on Su Sai. What Tangwa didn't know was that Yuni Chin was meeting someone. I heard that you have been following a lady recently? Yuni Chin replied respectfully, yes. He didn't know why, but he couldn't lie to his master. If Tangwa was here, she would recognize that Yuni Chin's master was the Mystic Tharch. The Mystic Tharch sighed. If you don't make a decision, you will be in trouble. I-Chin, you have already developed an inner demon. You have to get rid of it as soon as possible. I-Chin knows. Although Yuni-Chin said that, he didn't want to kill Wei Xian immediately. Master, please give I-Chin some time. The Mystic Tharch seemed to be very assured of Yuni-Chin. I believe in you. He came over to remind Yuni-Chin. If Yuni-Chin still couldn't forget Wei Xian and still wanted to cling on to that relationship, it was more or less useless. However, he couldn't help Yuni-Chin kill Wei Xian. Not only would he not be able to get rid of the inner demon, but it would also make Yuni-Chin's inner demon stronger. Yuni-Chin sent the Mystic Tharch away and felt very conflicted. I went to check on Yuni-Chin's movements just now, but I suddenly couldn't find him, Zhang Zilin said. There should be some powerful Dharma treasure that blocked my divine senses. A Dharma treasure that can block a saint's divine senses. This Dharma treasure's grade should surpass an immortal artifact. Tangwa suddenly moved closer to Zhang Zilin. It's here. That kind of danger was here, and it was accompanied by killing intent. Was it coming for her? Zhang Zilin stopped talking and looked serious. He now felt that Tangwa's suggestion was really good. If someone attacked them and he couldn't see through their cultivation, the other party might give up. On the surface, Zhang Xian looked like he was only at the high immortal realm. If the other party was at the high immortal realm or above, they would not hesitate to make a move against him. Just as he thought about it, Zhang Zilin felt an overwhelming pressure, as though it was going to crush the both of them. At the same time, the surrounding space was locked down. The immortal qi that filled the air slowly stopped flowing. Of course, this bit of pressure posed no threat to Zhang Zilin at all. In order to prevent the other party from being frightened, he pretended that he couldn't take it anymore and retreated with Tangwa. This pressure was somewhat threatening to Tangwa, but it was not that she could not resist it. However, on the surface, she was only at the immortal monarch realm, so her face was a little pale. System. No wonder these two are a pair. Both of them are such dogs. It's so pitiful to be their enemy. This skill of playing the pig to eat the tiger was not something that many people could compare to. At this time, the space around Tangwa had been completely locked down. If she and Zhang Zilin were really only in the immortal monarch realm, then today, only death would await them. No one would be able to save them. Who is it? Tangwa asked. At this time, she and Zhang Zilin had already been suppressed to the ground. The flying treasure couldn't fly at all. There were even cracks on it. It was clear how powerful the other party was. She also bit the tip of her tongue at an appropriate time, and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. It looked even more realistic. System. Heavens, great host, you're too much of a dog. Are you always so serious when you're acting? That person really didn't die unjustly. That person was so pitiful. When Tangwa finished saying everyone, the other party once again released an overwhelming pressure. This time, Tangwa and Zhang Zilin were pressed to the ground. The system looked at the two of them in an incomparably sorry state and didn't know what to say. It was speechless. What a scam. Peak. Chapter 4692. There was no communication between them, but they cooperated so well. Was this the legendary cheating couple? That person might have confirmed that Tangwa and Zhang Zilin could no longer resist and finally revealed himself. It's you. When Tangwa saw the Mystic Tharch appear, she was slightly stunned. However, on the surface, she acted as if she was in disbelief. Actually, she had suspected the Mystic Tharch. Hence, when the Mystic Tharch appeared, she was only stunned for a moment and was not too surprised. The Mystic Tharch just stood there as if he was one with heaven and man. He looked at Tangwa with pity in his eyes. It's me. I didn't want to kill you at first. It's a pity that I can't find the others for now. I can only kill you first before killing the others. The Mystic Tharch said calmly. If you want to blame someone, blame that immortal emperor who escaped. He obviously had the inheritance to become a sage, but he hid himself. If I don't kill you, how can I get the others to help me find the ninth immortal emperor? Tangwa understood now. This person wanted to kill them and push the blame to the ninth immortal emperor. As long as he did it cleanly, the others would find the ninth immortal emperor even if they did not have evidence to prove that the ninth immortal emperor killed them. Given the mystic Thearch's ability, it would be very difficult to find the ninth immortal emperor. From what he said, it was possible that the others did not want to find the ninth immortal emperor and felt that it was better to let nature take its course. Given Tangwa's understanding of the other immortal emperors, this might be the case. Even if many people were tempted at first, the Buddha the Arch would be able to persuade them back. If the others, including her father, guessed that the new immortal emperor had the inheritance to become a sage, they would be tempted and might even look for the ninth immortal emperor. However, the Buddha the Arch would definitely persuade them back. If you kill me, my father will not let you off. Tangwa pretended to be very nervous as she continued to retreat. The mystic the Arch thought that he had everything under control and had locked down the surrounding space. He even used a treasure to hide the heavenly secrets here. No one would discover that he was killing people. Hence, he was not afraid at all. The space was already locked down. The two immortal lords in front of him were just small immortal lords. He could easily kill them. His expression was still calm. I will do it cleanly. The Azure the Arch will not find out. Not only will I do it cleanly, but I will also make you disappear completely. They will only suspect the ninth immortal emperor. Even if they aren't sure, they will still find him. The mystic the Arch was not too concerned about Yunichin's progress because the ninth immortal emperor might have the inheritance to become a sage. If he could obtain the inheritance of becoming a saint, Yunichin's fate would be to be fused with him. What a pity. They all say that you have the highest chance of becoming a saint. I can't wait that long. The mystic Thearch's eyes turned cold. His lifespan was shorter than the other immortal emperors, and his talent was not considered good. He had used many unorthodox methods to cultivate to the immortal emperor realm. If he could not obtain the orthodox inheritance of becoming a saint, he would have to stop here. Back then, he had discovered the traces left behind by the sage. For this reason, he had studied the array formation diligently. Unfortunately, the array formation set up by the sage was very powerful. Not only was he unable to break the array formation, but he was also severely injured by the rebound. Until now, his injuries had not fully recovered. It was only because he had a concealment magic treasure on him that he was not discovered by others. Later on, he schemed against the saint's remnant soul to be born. Yes, he believed that the saint's remnant soul must be inside the array formation. However, no matter what he did, he still failed. Vertex. Chapter 4693. Occasionally, he would go back to check on that place. The array formation was still very stable. With his current understanding of array formations, it was impossible to break it. Hence, he could only think of other ways. As long as he cultivated to the sage realm, he might be able to break that array formation and obtain the huge treasures left behind by the sage. The appearance of the ninth immortal emperor gave him hope. Unfortunately, those people did not even want to look for him. They even said that they would let nature take its course. From his point of view, he might as well capture him and force him to reveal the inheritance of becoming a sage. That way, all 8 of them would benefit. Wouldn't that be good? He had no choice but to use this method. Only by angering them would they act to find him. With 8 immortal emperors working together, even an immortal emperor would not be able to hide so easily. They would definitely be able to find him. Furthermore, he did not dare to look for him alone. It would be easy for him to be exposed and cause the others to be unhappy. After thinking about it, this was the safest method. These people were really powerful. They were indeed descendants of sages. They could actually escape from his previous plan. Yunichin did not have an easy time in their hands. Not only that, they had all advanced to the immortal lord realm. This made him nervous. In time, they would all become immortal emperors. If he did not become a sage, his lifespan would be exhausted. The mystic the Arch walked towards Tangua. He was not afraid that Tangua would take out any treasures. Because of his soul spirit suppression, Tangua could not use her divine senses. She could not take out the treasures that the Azure Supreme the Arch gave her. She could not even take out her life treasure. This was the suppression of strength. No one could escape from the people he wanted to kill. Seeing the mystic the Arch walk step by step towards her, Tangua panicked. In fact, she had already grabbed Jiang Zeline's arm. At this moment, Jiang Zeline's voice rang in her ears. The space has been completely sealed. This time, he will not be able to escape. In the past, he could not do anything to the mystic the Arch because he left a backup plan in the immortal world. In addition, he was restricted by the array formation and strength. He could not catch him. This time, it was different. He had already sealed the space. The mystic the Arch even helped to shield him from the heavens. It was very convenient. When Tangua heard this, she heaved a sigh of relief. She was not afraid of the mystic the Arch. She was only afraid that the mystic the Arch would run away. If he ran away this time, she would not be able to catch him in the future. He was still a potential threat. She had already thought of how she was going to deal with the mystic the Arch. She was going to throw him into the Soul Stone, where he would be unable to live or die. It would be impossible for him to reincarnate. All her backup plans would be useless. Just as the mystic the Arch was about to make a move, he suddenly realized that Tangua and Jiang Zeline had stood up. He frowned and wondered if Tangua had some trump cards. At this moment, Tangua and Jiang Zeline released their cultivation. Did anyone tell you that I'm the 9th immortal emperor? I'm sorry, but I don't have the inheritance to become a saint. However, I do have a living saint. Tangua's words shocked the mystic the Arch. When Tangua released her cultivation, he immediately dispelled the idea of killing Tangua. Immortal monarchs could be easily killed, but immortal emperors couldn't be killed. He immediately removed the sealed space and turned to escape. However, he realized that he could not escape at all. Outside the sealed space, the space was still sealed. His gaze landed on Jiang Zeline. Was it him? You're not the successor of a profound sage, right? Jiang Zeline said. You don't have the aura of a profound sage on you. The successor of a sage, regardless of whether they were related by blood, as long as they were a successor, their cultivation technique would definitely be related to the sage. Peak, you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.